From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
And good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the Noon News. I'm Andrea Lutz. New at noon this afternoon, there's new information surrounding the ongoing legal and political battle between Montana Republicans and the state's judiciary. Now there's been a second request to block the release of more emails. Court Administrator Beth McLaughlin filed that request to block efforts by legislative Republicans and the Attorney General. They're trying to obtain her emails, saying there's bias. Late last week, Republicans issued a rare subpoena for emails dating back to January, and they received more than 2,000 of them before the Supreme Court came in and squashed the subpoena. McLaughlin says the request is an attack on the separations of power. The NCAA is making a strong suggestion to end playoff football in Montana if the legislature goes ahead with a bill surrounding transgender athletes competing in high school and college sports. The Board of Governors released a statement saying the NCAA championship events like FCF playoff games at Washington Grizzly Stadium or Bobcat Stadium wouldn't be permitted in Montana. The games bring in big money, of course, to Missoula and Bozeman and athletics at those colleges. Lawmakers are considering House Bill 112, which would contradict the NCAA's policy on transgender athletes. Now the House and Senate are appointing a conference committee to work on the bill. The Billings City Council recently passed an ordinance they hope will get rid of sex trafficking. In an 8-3 vote just last night, the ordinance requires now all massage providers to obtain a special license and pass a background check. Experts say there are at least 12 illicit sex trafficking businesses in Billings, and they're disguised as massage therapy businesses. But there was lots of after-hours debate. The police chief saying he's for any tool that helps victims and brings criminals to justice. But some legitimate massage therapists are against the ordinance, saying it unfairly lumps them with illegal businesses.
Target them. Put a task force together. We have tried to work with you. We have tried to give you examples of things, and you just keep shutting us down. I am appalled that you don't take us as credit, like we don't know what we're doing.
Okay, so the ordinance still needs a second reading at a future council meeting before it officially becomes a law. In Missoula, opponents are making some noise over a proposal to control amplified sounds in city parks. The city heard public comment aimed at regulating that sound in certain parks in the community. The proposal would require the public to obtain a permit. Nearly a dozen commented, concerned that the language of the ordinance is too ambiguous, some saying it would lead to issues when law enforcement eventually uses the rule to address noise complaints. And another concern is the cost of the permit, which is $48. Council was set to vote on it last night, but after a string of public comment, they decided to return it back for more discussion. In Minneapolis, former police officer Derek Chauvin's defense team is asking the court to sequester the jury. This as he continues to stand trial for the murder of George Floyd. They argue jurors could be influenced by another recent police shooting that's happened in the city. The judge denied that request, along with another request to block jurors' access to media. Today, the defense will start presenting its case in the murder trial. Prosecutors are wrapped up by calling a cardiologist to the stand who testified that Floyd's death was preventable. This is protests rage on in the Twin Cities following the shooting death of 20-year-old Dwante Wright, a black man that happened by police. 40 people were arrested after 2 nights of demonstrations, and officials say some police were injured by protesters throwing debris. Officials also say the officer who shot Wright may have mistaken her pistol for her taser. Investigators released body cam video of the traffic stop, and in that video, the officer is heard warning Wright that she was going to taser him before shooting him. And it is now time to take a look at that weather. Yep, taking a break from all that news because we want to know what it's going to be like outside, Miller.
A lot of this going on.
Yeah.
It is colder than average out there, and I'm going to explain why that is here in just a second. But let's take a look across the state if we can. Over on the western side of Montana, we're looking pretty good in terms of the sunshine and the cloud cover. But moving on over to the eastern part of the state, specifically in the northeast corner, we've got that snow. It's trying to push into northern part of Montana along the High Line. And don't forget, we still have portions of Montana under northeast Montana under that winter weather advisory in effect all the way until midnight tonight, unless they decide to cancel out before then. We've already seen several inches of snowfall, could see upwards of 3 more inches. So heading home during drive time today, just be on the lookout. Now it is colder than normal out there. There's low pressure. In fact, we're sandwiched in between 2 areas of low pressure. How's that going to continue to affect us? I'll let you know with the main forecast straight ahead. Andrea.
Miller, thanks so much. In Butte, there is a free shuttle system that links people to outdoor adventures like hiking and biking. But in light of COVID-19, there's a catch if you want to ride. MTN's Caitlin Aguilas finds out what shuttle riders will need to do in order to jump on.
Thanks to an anonymous donation, Linked Adventures, a custom adventure planning business, is offering free shuttle rides this summer. But there's a catch. Free shuttle rides will only be offered to those who have proof of their COVID-19 vaccination. Gina Evans, founder and owner of Linked Adventures, said the anonymous donors approached her with the idea of free shuttle rides in exchange for showing COVID-19 vaccination cards.
There's a vaccine pileup of people needing to show up and get shot in an arm. And this gracious donation will allow free shuttles to happen to all Anaconda and Butte residents.
The shuttle rides will go to destinations like Thompson Park, Continental Divide Trail, Maud S. Canyon Loop, and the Highlands.
Spend a day, spend an hour, spend 3 hours. I'll be flexible. 48-hour previous, and I'll work with your group, and we can do a whole day of shuttling.
Evans and the anonymous donor believe that this offer can encourage people to get the vaccination.
This person, these people, they really want to show that things can happen in a good way with the COVID vaccine.
In Butte, Caitlin Aguilas, MTN News.
Okay, and if you are a Gallatin County resident and you've been waiting to get vaccinated, you might now have the perfect time to get signed up. Not long ago, there didn't seem like there was enough vaccines. And that doesn't mean that there aren't enough people signing up, though, in the county. Health officials are saying there are currently 4,000 people on a waiting list, but the county has 5,000 doses to distribute this week. That leaves a surplus of about 1,000 doses. But remember, when you do sign up for the shot, you're signing up to be put on the waiting list, not necessarily to get that actual appointment just yet. In an effort to start a community-owned grocery store cooperative in Butte, well, it's now been approved by the state. So now the co-op needs to get about 1,000 people to invest in the business. The company plans to sell local produced foods, health foods, and everyday brands. The co-op already has a board of directors and is seeking people to become lifetime members by paying $50. Organizers say a co-op store will bring pride to the community, but they still need to raise $2.5 million before the co-op can decide where the store will be located in Butte. People can become a member at the Butte Food Co-op webpage. There's been a rise in demand for gas, and due to vaccinations and warmer weather, experts caution that gas prices are unlikely to change anytime soon. The average price across the country has held steady at $2.94 for the past 2 weeks, and it's unlikely to stay that way or even drop, they say. Still, gas prices today are 93 cents higher than they were a year ago. The demand has caused gasoline supplies to tighten. That's all according to AAA. All right, we still have more to come on the new news. Families who've lost their loved ones to COVID are now looking for funeral cost assistance. We have that information on how you can apply. And of course, Miller's back in with a look at that statewide weather forecast.